How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Nasipi. Zwane is my surname, founder of Sledge Underground Podcast. And today I've got a really wholesome episode for you, as I always do every single week. Today I've got Cassandra, who is the founder of Emo Night South Africa, which is one of the more prominent events here in South Africa. And we're going to be finding out more about the event, how it started, why it was started, and so on. So I'm super stoked that you're here to join us. And I'm going to let Cassandra introduce herself, and then we're just going to take it from there.
Thank you so much for having me. Incredibly excited to be here. Cassandra Roxburgh, founder and director of Emo Night, which I've been doing for 9 years this year.
That's absolutely beautiful. It's actually crazy that we must have started around the same time, because this is the ninth year like that I've been doing Sledge Underground. Started it around September 2016. So I'm super stoked that the timeline has sort of, merged and, got us here. Why did you start Emo Night, as an event?
I was back when I was a student at Stellenbosch and was feeling very much like there weren't really any events that played the kind of music I really liked. I'd been
Mm-hmm.
doing music journalism since I was 17 years old. When I say music journalism, I mean like writing, just unpaid writing for different blogs and stuff. And like had grown
Yeah.
up on emo music and going into the Stellenbosch nightlife scene, it was like a lot of club music, which I didn't super enjoy. And as much as I love live music and bands, I also wanted to be able to sometimes go out and be able to just sing along to a Fall Out Boy song or Bring Me the Horizon or Parkway Drive or whatever. Um, and my friend Dominique, who was in high school with me, actually, we had been watching Emo Night Brooklyn, Emo Night LA happen in the States, and kind of jokingly said, "Oh, we could probably do that. We know enough about music and enough people that we can maybe get 50, 60 people to come to this little
Mm.
upstairs venue in a karaoke bar called Manila Bar, which is a live music venue upstairs." And we thought there'll just be 50, 60 people. And I think we had like 150 people show up for our first event. And that
Mm.
just made us go, oh, whoa, this is something we can actually do as a
Mm.
real event. And it has not stopped since then.
What has this 9-year journey taught you just about the scene in South Africa overall?
Ooh, that the scene is not as fickle as a lot of people might make it out to be. It definitely does have, it's perhaps, especially in Cape Town at least, it's clickiness with the genre, I suppose, as do any
Mm.
music scenes anywhere. Um, but I think at the core of it, the alternative music scene in South Africa is just one that wants to have a lot of fun and do really cool things, but is maybe a little bit scared to try those things because sometimes you really have to take these massive risks and put yourself in the financial firing line, which, as much as Emo Night is a DJ night, it has still been like the most financially risky thing I have ever done because I've been running it since I was a student. And it's still, there are sometimes events where I'm like, I don't know how this is going to pan out. But as for the scene in general, it is a scene that's been through a lot of ups and downs, but it's starting to recover in a really meaningful, cool way. Like I was at Middle of Africa's Summerfest yesterday and just seeing,
Mm.
I think like 400 people just watching a
Oh,
bunch of metal
nice.
bands and being really friendly and courteous to each other. Yeah, I think it's also just been a lot of watching the scene evolve
Mm.
over 9 years and almost cycle through so many genres. Has been really interesting. It's I think we've really been trying to find ourselves as a music industry after the pandemic, and
Mm. Mm.
my feeling of the
Yeah.
alternative music scene has gotten now to a point where it's like, oh, we know what we want to do, and it's doing these really cool bands that are coming out and putting out some amazing music.
That's absolutely beautiful. I got a couple of friends actually who were playing Summerfest yesterday. I don't know if you saw them. YCS. How did they do? Give me like a quick report
Your
about how
cynical
the
sanity was fuck. Your cynical sanity was crazy. um, I am covered in bruises from the mosh pits for Gas and Your Cynical Sanity, and like it's really cool to see a deathcore band actually exist in South Africa, because it feels like it's a genre
Mm.
that's not really had its time of day to play out, and it's like perfect. I was like, my partner and I were saying, this doesn't feel like a South African band. This feels like an international band that's like on the cusp of doing something amazing. And then they pulled out a cover of Pray for Plagues by Bring Me the Horizon, and I was just like,
Oh.
okay, you can have all of my support. It was beautiful.
Yeah, those guys are the best. But I really love that you mentioned Ghost there as well. You know, that lineup was really solid. And I think what you're actually doing is actually beautiful because, you were mentioning, answering the question that I answered, prior to this one, that, the scene in general can be very clicky and so on. But you're leading by example because you're someone who's mainly focusing on, emo nights, your My Chemical Romance and falling in reverse, that sort of stuff. But we're here seeing you at like a metal event and so on.
Yeah,
It's absolutely beautiful.
yeah. We also this is kind of a sneak preview. You hear it here first. We have an event coming up
Nice.
in April that's kind of like styling itself after Warped Tour a little bit with live bands, with Heart Machine, Low Ghost, and Gaze. And those are just three bands that exist in completely different genre spectrums. And like our
Mm,
entire hope is just smashing together the people that like the emo Midwest stuff, and then the metalcore, and then the emo alt pop stuff.
mm,
But yeah, I've been going to live. We used to do a lot of live shows as well before the pandemic. We had two last year as well, with Systematic and Cape Riot, and then Black Lung and Nani. So we've always like tried to
yeah.
do live bands when we can. We want to do like a lot more of that, and just try and, instead of doing monthly live gigs, have these really big set piece live events where we put
Mm,
150% into it and really try and introduce people from across the scene to different bands. And like Heart Machine played yesterday, and they were phenomenal.
mm.
Absolutely crazy, like vocal, very much. The stage presence, the performance, beautiful. Highly recommend them.
I love that you mentioned lockdown because when I was going through this Legend of Gone journey, lockdown was a transitional period, for the podcast as a
Mm,
whole. Prior to that, we'd strictly just been doing in-person interviews. We'd wait for a
mm,
band to come down to Durban, only then would we record episodes, and that just you know the knock-on effect of that was that there was no consistency. Like we'd have maybe 2 3 episodes and then instead of the 4 that we're doing per month. So for me it's sort of like it was a transitional period in that we started doing online interviews. Like the fact that we're doing this now is a product of lockdown.
mm.
So for Emo Night and what Cassandra's been doing around 2020 lockdown and so on, how did you sort of react and what did you sort of come out with during that time when you're looking at Emo Night?
Oh, so this kind of like wraps up my own personal journey a little bit, because I transitioned during lockdown, and then
Okay.
that kind of influenced any kind of approach I'll take to Emo Night, of looking at this event and going, okay, prior to lockdown, this was a fairly like progressive event in terms of like our ethos. We were like very feminist focused. It happened around, Me Too and the Pink Pussy Hats and all that. So we were
Mm,
very much trying to push like a feminist ethos. But something I had realized is there wasn't a lot of queerness built into our events. And just
mm,
from our first comeback event, Resurrection, in I think May 2022, the foremost focus of Emo Night has been creating a safe space for everyone, and that has rarely been picked up by our entire community, and people outside of it. The people have come into the community, have come to Emo Night just because they are, trans or queer or whatever, because they know it's a safe space, they know the music. Yeah, like lockdown was really just lockdown is a fundamental point where I was like, the only way I could possibly come and do an emo night again is if I can make sure that everyone feels safe, feels protected. And it's just, I think that's one of the few events in Cape Town. Maybe this might be egotistical to say that people, at least I've been told, that people just feel really safe. They don't worry about, is someone going to hit on me or make me feel uncomfortable? Because
Yeah.
when that does happen, we can't prevent it entirely. Lockdown nearly killed Emo Night. There was a point where I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep doing this because
Yeah.
I thought I was going to pursue a law career and all of that, and then that never happened. So
Mm.
in a way, I'm grateful that things have panned out as they have, because this year is shaping up to be one of our biggest years on the books. Like, we have 11 shows planned this year. We have fringe
Nice.
signed shows that are connected to a management company we're starting called Push Pull, that are like
Nice.
focused on pop music and just trying to like revive the nightlife scene for the alt community a little bit outside of just live
Mm.
music, giving people spaces where community can gather and really come together and just integrate nicely. That's the only way I can think about it. Like, our entire focus is building community this year, which
Mm.
I think is really important.
Mm, you mentioned a safety element there, something that I want to come back to, but you also mentioned wanting to pursue a law career, and immediately I was intrigued because I've taken that journey myself. About 3 years ago, I started basically enrolled at UKZN, and this is my third year now
Yeah,
doing studying law. For you, like
nice.
when you say that, never happened, like what happened, like why did you decide to go against that?
Um, so I have a master's in law, actually.
Nice.
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, no,
That's incredible.
4 years of writing a thesis. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think a lot of it never really panned out because I am trans and showing I don't want to indict the legal community of South Africa too much, but it's not the most progressive community in the world. And
Okay.
I don't know. Whenever I applied for articles, I just never really received responses. And then when I did have interviews, they would be, I don't know, I think taken aback by myself. And maybe they are
Mm.
recognizing that I struggle to deal with authority figures very well. But I do work in legal tech, so I'm a little bit like law adjacent, but I'm in a position where I can go home and work on what I need to work on for Emo Night, or when I have a lull in the work I need to do, be
Mm.
sitting at my desk and working on Emo Night. I'm technically working two full-time jobs, so yeah. If I was doing articles, I would not be able to do a lot of the stuff that we have been able to do lately.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely incredible that you got your masters. I'm speaking to a legend. Like I can feel this. I know this.
Thank
It's
you.
absolutely beautiful.
It's
What
having the
you've
master's law has actually like helped a lot with running this business and just like interfacing with the scene in general, because I mean, you're doing law. I think you're fully aware of the analytical skills you get and just the
oh,
critical thinking,
yeah,
and
for
yeah,
sure,
just being
for
able
sure.
to engage with the scene in a way that's not just purely through the love of music, a little bit through the mindset of, okay, what's the business and what's the legality here? How can we navigate this in a way that actually looks professional and interesting and fun?
Professional, definitely.
I think it just helps that I know how to write contracts. That's also the major selling point.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Let's go back to the safety elements. That is something
Mm,
that is very important. When you're going out in the evening, most of the time, you want to feel safe. So how
yeah.
do you go about planning an emo night event and just making sure that safety is at the forefront?
I think it's interesting that we never actually, I don't think as a team we ever consciously sit and go and think about how we're going to make people feel safe. I think just really grateful that the club that we are kind of in partnership with, Evol, is known to be quite a safe club, and the bouncers are really amazing at their job. But a lot of us, actually, I think everyone on the team of our core DJs, we all just kind of take on this de facto position of being like safety coordinators, of just we keep an eye on the crowd.
Mm.
people have often commented that our various DJs sometimes look worried when they're standing in the crowd, and we have to explain, no, 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 we're not worried. We're actually just watching to make sure that you're all marching safely. No one is, harassing you. Like I think for New Year's Eve, my partner Ari is also our creative director. Noticed this
Yeah,
poor girl that had like passed out drunk on one of the couches.
yeah,
And she went and made sure this person's okay, took them to go throw up in the bathroom, and then bundled them into an Uber. So I think it maybe helps that we have an all femme lineup most of the time, where we
mm,
all, I think, have safety at the back of our mind and have this ethos of care and just making sure that everyone is doing okay. Yeah, it's actually, now that I'm realizing talking to you, it's not something we've ever sat down and planned for. We've all just gone, okay, keep an eye on everyone, and
yeah,
it's magically worked out really well. I think it also helps that if people are causing problems, we tend to just remove them. We have no issue with going, hey, you're not making this party fun for anyone. You've got to go.
yeah. That's absolutely wonderful. I've seen you, like images that you've put up before where you're behind the decks as well. And is that something you do? Do you also DJ at some of the events?
Yes, I don't think there's ever been an emo night where I have not DJ'd. Yeah,
Mm,
no, I have
mm,
not. I've
mm.
always DJ'd. I think I find it like so much fun. I treat it as a performance, like because we don't like. I think some of our DJs do like mixing and transitions. I just tend to treat it as this is the band I never got to join, um,
Mm.
and because that's how like a lot of my DJ performing on like Spirit Box and like actually no, it's Enter Shikari and Let Love because Jason Aaron Butler and Rue Reynolds have the most insane. And I remember like reading Rock Sound like in 2012 and seeing these photos of these men just hanging from speaker stacks in clubs. And I
Yeah.
always joke if we actually had like a front of house speaker stack, I would be hanging from that instead of DJing. Because yeah, I tend to climb on anything I possibly can. And I think
Yeah.
that's honestly what's made Emo Nights part and parcel of it being such an experience is all of our DJs do
Yes.
engage with the crowd in such ways where it's not just you don't just feel like there's a person behind the decks picking the songs. You actually feel like you're part of a performance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Even in those images, like when I see you, you hanging or something, or you're like you standing above the crowd, and I'm just like, it's so much FOMO. It is very much part of that identity. Other
Yeah.
events often play it safe, but I feel like the things that happen at emo nights are just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they are. I think we're so lucky in that we have such a dedicated patronage and fan base that we can take silly risks and do things. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's perfectly
Mm.
fine. We can always bounce back and recover. But I don't think anything's not ever worked out. Maybe the one time
The-
someone tried to crowd surf, but we have a hardcore event coming up, and I'm going to get someone to crowd surf.
Hey, that's beautiful. I remember we recently had I did an interview with a homie of mine. His name is Josh. He's a DJ. He frequents Cape Town, both Cape Town and Durban. And there's actually a reel that we put up from that episode that actually reached quite a number of people. And he was
Yeah,
essentially saying
like
in
I've
that
seen it.
reel that DJing, you know is equivalent to like the same mental capacity as like writing metric finals and so on. Basically what he was trying to say was, DJing is not as easy as just putting together a playlist and pressing play, crossfading. I want to get your insights on that. How complicated is DJing?
Ooh, honestly, I think it is quite complicated. I know if I go look through the horde of photos we have of all our DJs, there are often certain points where everyone just looks so laser focused at trying to get the timing right. Because often our DJs, they do like pre-design their sets a little bit, but we always tell everyone to bring extra songs. And then sometimes you're just trying to think, oh, should I actually swap this song out for another? Is the song actually working? I always feel drained. Like afterwards, after a set, I just collapse in the green room under the aircon and go, oh, thank God that's done. Because It's a lot of mental power to be like sitting there and thinking, okay, what song do I need to play next? When do I need to time the song to go off? And then what crowd interaction should I do? And you also sort of have to, I think at least with our case, you also have to kind of deal with feeling like the spotlight is on you. And for whatever reason, all of our DJs have some form of anxiety. I don't know
Mm.
what happened. I think we just all attracted like master flames to each other. And I think there's some degree of like stage fright and performance anxiety to get over. I would say the kind of DJing we do is probably a lot less complicated than EDM music because you don't have to worry necessarily as much about like beat matching and phrase transitions. You can do them, and I think few of us do. It's something that I have tried to do in the past and been like, I'm already using so much of my brain to
Mm.
body the crowd at any chance I can. That I don't tend to do that, but yeah, it's fun, but it's exhausting. And the mental capacity it takes to build a set list of trying to put in songs that people will like, but also try and get some kind of theme going, and then deciding what risks to take with putting in newer music that people haven't really heard before.
Mm.
And I'm always pleasantly surprised when I play a song that I think no one has ever heard, and maybe they haven't heard it. Um, and people still lose their minds, and even if they don't know the song, they still have a good time. Like I think I played
Yeah.
how this is band called Foxing, which are like a very experimental emo hardcore esque band, and I decided to play one of their songs at New Year's Eve, and I was like, okay, people are probably gonna go get drinks for the song, so I can take it back. Nope, there was this wall to wall mosh pit, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
this next
Beautiful.
hour is going to be insane. It's going to be crazy.
Such a vibe. You know, the stories, what you just told me now just makes me want to go to an Emo Night event. Just leave Durban and go to Cape Town for this
Just
because it
come
sounds
come down to
absolutely
Cape
mental.
Town, put you on the guest list. Don't even worry about it. You come sleep on our
Hey.
couch.
Sweet, sweet. Listen, for when it comes to the venue, I think you said it's Evil, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what you called it?
Evol, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Evil. Yes.
Evol.
So let's look at the
Love
venue. Yeah,
backwards.
Evil. Perfect. So tell me a bit about Evil. Why did you guys choose to go with that venue, and what is it about the venue that just makes Emo Nights such an amazing event whenever you guys host there?
So we've gone with Evol for the past 3 years because the booking manager Bernard, also like the club manager Bernard, kind of messaged us or messaged me because we had done one or two events there before lockdown. And then he kind of messaged me to be like, "Hey, would you consider doing an emo night here? We've like upgraded the sound because the last time we did a show there, the sound was this was back in 2018. The sound wasn't amazing, but that's all been upgraded now." And I was like, you know what? This is the only viable venue that I could ever consider doing an emo night again and seeing if it lands as well as it did in the pandemic. And it did, and I had like such a good time. The venue was like amazing because it's this really the layout is so interesting because you have the main dance floor and then you have this
Mm.
kind of like liminal chill hangout space with like tables and chairs and all that where people
Yeah.
can sit, and then you go down the stairs and you go to like this full pool area. And the first time we did it, I was like, this is actually like perfect because the thing I'd always felt that emo night lacked in the past is that kind of liminal space of an area where people who might not want to dance and mosh and get crazy can
Yeah.
still really enjoy the music. And you do get a lot of these instances where people are playing pool. They don't even finish their game. They hear like "Welcome to the Black Parade" or like a song they know, and they just sprint from the pool area to the main dance floor. And like part of sticking to Evol is because I really like I we were at Mercury for like 3 years straight before the pandemic. I just love when I host an event, I want to be able to have a relationship with the venue owner and like maintain that relationship for as long as possible. And a lot of it is just because I fell in love with Evil and their staff is amazing. And there's something just
Mm.
about being able to know, okay, I know everyone who is working tonight. if all our patrons know these bartenders, they've seen them at every event so far. And that, like, I think actually really helps in creating the welcoming atmosphere that we get to have. It is,
Mm,
it is, it is also a little bit of like a cost consideration. There are not a lot of out venues in Cape Town
mm.
that are up to, well, my personal standards. And yeah, it's like we have a good deal with them. It's so many factors to come in and be like, well, it's the community, it's this, is that, but then it's also always the financial undercurrent of we have a good booking deal with them, and we've actually entered into a partnership with them to do like social media management for them and run some other events for them. So it's just been like this whole like building of a relationship.
Yeah, so I'm watching this right now. I'm seeing Cassandra. She's hyping it up. Emo Nights is absolutely amazing, and I decide, listen, I want to go to Emo Nights. What are the essentials? I'm getting ready to go there tonight. What are the essentials, and what can I expect
Ooh.
going out to Emo Nights?
The essentials are eyeliner. Don't care if you're what gender you are. If you don't have eyeliner
Yeah.
on, get some on. It's part of the ethos. It's part of the aesthetic. But I think the essentials are just be yourself. Come as your most authentic self. Leave any preconceptions of what constitutes emo and the genre of it and the subculture. Like at the door, I find that like if you just come with a really good attitude, like people actually come like alone, like solo, and just have like the best time because you will be adopted by some massive friend group, or you'll be dancing for so long that you don't even notice that you're alone. I think it really just comes down to come with a good mindset, have a couple of drinks or have no drinks, do whatever you want, but just come
Mm,
with the intention of having fun. And it doesn't hurt to throw on like uh the very best of emo playlist while you get ready. That gets you into the mood.
mm,
And honestly, like come, I think always says people, come early, stay late. Like
mm,
you will from when we start at 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. You will have like an absolute time of your life. Good shoes, good, just comfortable shoes. That's the thing I have to stress is comfortable shoes. I love
yeah.
a good pair of Doc Martens. I love a good pair of high heel boots. But as a DJ, as
Yeah.
someone who's on my feet all the time, Vans or any kind of sneaker are the way to go. Running shoes, even. I actually might try that one day.
We're at the tail end of the episode, but you did mention, some of the things that you're looking forward to in the future. Long term, you're obviously looking at maybe a venue that you own. Absolutely
Yeah,
perfect. I really want to see that happening. You obviously mentioned that this year, I think you mentioned about 11 or 9 or 11 events that you've got
yeah,
planned.
11.
Yeah, so walk me through some of the highlights that are coming up this year.
Yeah, I mean, we have our event on the 15th of February at Evol, which is a Valentine's Day event called Sucker for You, which is going to be really fun. We have a Knocked Loose theme event coming up in March, in the middle of March. We have, and this name is fun. It's totally not Warped Tour. Warped Tour coming up on the 26th of April with Heart Machine, Gaze, and Logos. And then after that, I think we have some good album retrospectives lined up. I'm pretty sure there's a 20 years of From Under a Cork Tree because that turns 20 this year. I think we're doing
Oh,
another
nice.
Paramore night because All We Know Is Falling is turning 20 years. Another Bring Me the Horizon night because that's Spirit turns 10. There are so
Oh.
many albums turning 20 this year and 10. It's crazy. And yeah, we have merch coming out. Hopefully by April at the latest, and more merch after
Mm,
that. Ideally, we want to start doing this. This is for the artists and bands who might be listening. If you've watched Emo Night social media and seen how we do it, if we want to be able to do that for you, we're going to be launching Push Pull, which is like a social media marketing management agency. That's still in the process of being scaled up and put like into motion, but that's hopefully
mm,
coming this year, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, just a lot of really fun events. We hope to have two band nights, one I've already mentioned, and then want to do one for Halloween. And I was watching Gast yesterday and went, this name is perfect for a Halloween event. I have to get them down in October. So I hope that happens.
No, that's absolutely beautiful. I, for one, am looking forward to that, and hopefully can come through to one of the events if something does bring me through to Cape Town.
I
Definitely
hope
worth it
so.
if someone
Yeah,
is watching this and they
someone
are in Cape Town.
get sludge down. You can knock out as many interviews as possible with Cape Town bands.
Hey, sick. We need to, yeah, we'll definitely make a plan and make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cassandra, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode. I really appreciate, just getting to do this and just learning more about Cape Town culture and what is going on that side. And for anyone who wants to reach out to you guys, online social media platforms, or who might want to get booked, how do you reach out to you?
You can pop us a DM on at Emo Night RSA on Instagram. Our amazing social media and creative director is very good at responding. And then you'll probably end up getting an email from me later in the week. But yeah, just Instagram is like the main place to find us.
So, for anyone that's watching this episode, I just want to thank you for tuning in and just learning more about Emo Night with me. Obviously, you can catch this on our website, www.sludgeunderground.com, and everything is on our social media platforms as well, at Sludge Underground on Instagram. That is exactly where you'll find us. Don't forget to get some merch and sludgeunderground.store and continue supporting Emo Night. If you're in Cape Town, do head out to Evol. We've mentioned all the dates that you need to look out for, so we hope to actually see you there. Thank you so much once more for joining us on this episode. We'll catch you guys next time.